we're going over keyword research. This is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? All right. I think most of you probably understand the bare bones of it, that it means that you're using key phrases and key specific words. And when we say keywords, it isn't usually just one word. All right. It's usually a phrase of some kind, 2 or 3 words, but they get used in search and they are going to connect you with what you want, or more directly, connect the people you want, customers, potential customers, to your product, service, your website, whatever. All right. So, where do you find them? Your first your first place you should go is Google. All right. They own 90% of search. All right. If you're I understand, I think that's a horrible company. All right. I said it. All right. And everyone knows it. That they suppress, they buried articles, they do that stuff. But of course I'm gonna be careful because I'm on a YouTube, Google product here. But let's be honest here. Like, they have a history of suppressing things. So, but it is what it is. Yeah, you can go on one of the other ones that's more of a fringe site, and if you're worried about privacy or whatever, go for it. But if you actually are interested in making money, you need to learn Google. All right. So the first thing, I'm going to just use some terms that I really am not that interested in, but I'm going to throw them out there anyway. Um, let's do this one. What's the longest commercial flight? All right. So let's see what we find here. So there's your number one hit. We all are kind of used to seeing that. And then you have the usual litany of blogs, written up about those things. Now, I use some tools on my Google to drill things down a little bit more. All right. Um, I use Ahrefs. This is a free plugin, and this is going to give you some really good keyword ideas if you're looking for this sort of thing. So if you're a writer and you want to compete with one of these, questions here, or one of these blog posts here, these are some really good ideas. Now let me. This is. I can't remember which tool this is. I'll have to put it into the bio. Anyway, what are long tail keywords? Long tail keywords are keywords that there's a graph. They call them fathead keywords, and then there's long tail keywords. The fathead ones are the ones that the graph balloons up, and it's got the highest search volume, but also the difficulty is a lot higher. Generally, these are shorter terms. Long tail keywords, if you look at them, are usually phrased in longer formats, but they also have much lower search volumes usually. That isn't necessarily a long tail keyword. I wouldn't say it is, but it's whatever. But this one, so like 50 search volume, was the longest nonstop commercial flight. There's not as many people asking for it, but they're asking for it for a specific reason. These might be people that are actually looking to do that. And if you're like a My Points guy or whatever, and you actually have affiliates or promos in there, you want to get those people funneled in there that have a vested interest in learning about that thing. And you have a promotion that you can target specifically to that. Boom. All right. So anyway, fag keywords, long tail keywords. Long tail keywords are proving to be a really valuable commodity for people to capitalize on, because you're able to you can almost, I mean, you're not saying you're guaranteeing them, but okay, when you use these tools, there's X amount of people that are looking for those things. So, you can pretty much guarantee, without guaranteeing, that if there are 400 people a month, the monthly search volume is 400, they're looking for this, and you can't really find anyone else tailoring specific to those long tail keywords, you're going to be funneling those people straight to you. So that's pretty awesome. So anyway, so these are, in a nutshell, keywords. All right, let's turn this off, see what the other tool is I have here. I have more plugins plugged in on Google than I even care to admit on Chrome. Well, actually, it's Brave, but it uses Chrome plugins, so it's whatever. Anyway, so here's some of the related keywords to that. So if you're going after something like what's the longest commercial flight, when you are trying to target a crowd, these are some other ones that would be valuable. What's the longest flight in the world? 6,600 monthly search volume. Longest flight in the world by time, 2,400. Longest flight route in the world, 1,600. So those are good ones to sprinkle into your work. All right. So let's try this. This is actually a paid service. I'm going to take the same phrase and I'm going to plug it into SpyFu. I'll be honest with you. I use SpyFu. It's been good for me, and at my level in the SEO game, it works great. If I were an agency, I don't know that I would do it, but I'm not there yet. All right. But I will say that like Ahrefs and SEMrush are over double the price of this monthly. It's $39 a month. All right. And it does more than enough for what I want to do. So this is showing it doesn't have a whole lot of search volume every month. So it's not really showing much of anything. So that's actually a good, this is a good opportunity to explain that like not every tool, they're not all built the same. You know, sometimes one will show something and the other one says, oh, there's nothing there. So, I mean, I think it's important for you to learn to use more than one tool, because they're not always, they're not always going to jive with each other, and it's hard to tell which one is actually accurate. So I generally don't just rely on one. But anyway, so here we shorten that down to longest commercial flight. 1100 monthly volume, difficulty of 45. If you're trying to target something like this, I always try to go, and all of the SEO providers have, they have a difficulty gauge somewhere, like Ahrefs and SEMrush both have them. I think Moz does too. But anyway, so I would go with, this is less than 50. This is worth doing. 1100 monthly volume, definitely worth doing. Now I like here is this also gives you some other things, similar keywords, gives you your volume, and then which you can see this is consistent with the tools, the plugins I have for Chrome. And then I like this because when I'm writing an article, I actually like to answer questions. It's just something that I do. It's, I use that for headers and I use that throughout the text. Sometimes I put them in bold because I know that, if I can find questions that are being asked that are consistent with the keyword that I'm searching, and this is based off of people actually asking the questions, then if I put it in there verbatim, that's going to end up as a keyword, a key phrase in my work. And I know there's at least 135 people looking for this. So I always like to do that. And it works well in your writing when you do that, because, when you're particularly a blog writer, what you're usually doing is you're trying to find pain points for people. And this is old copywriting tactics. You're trying to find people's pain points and then you're going to answer those. You're going to kind of, copywriters, straight, copywriters, they just agitate that. And then they're like, but here's the solution. But you don't necessarily have to keep agitating them. But what you can do though, is pose the question in your text and then you answer it and you lay that out. And if you're really smooth, you have a product that you link to that says, oh, if you, this is the tool that's going to answer your question. Like I'll answer it to some degree, but this is the tool that's going to fix it. And that's what I do for, I write for Dirt Legal, and it's fine if I say that because I have the byline, so my name's all over it. And that's what we do. We do Montana LLC registrations for cars, and the agitation that we use. This is part of the keyword strategy, is that we look at things like California DMV because we know it's a major pain point. I'll just put that in there, and we'll see how painful it is. Now let's see what we got. 148,000 monthly searches. All right, there's 40 million people roughly, and like 39 million people in California. There's 14 million vehicles registered on the road or somewhere around there. Obviously, a lot of people are searching for this. The difficulty is easy. So we hone in on this because California has some ridiculous registration and titling laws, mostly registration, namely due to their state inspections and their smog programs. And then their taxes are crazy. People talking, Reddit, the Los Angeles subreddit, and people are talking about like $700 per car for, like for a 7-year-old car, and it's like, what? Like my most expensive vehicle in Kansas is like 300, and most of them are like under 2. So every time I start thinking that, oh, life's expensive here, I'm like, oh no, it's much more expensive somewhere else. So anyway, um, so what we do is we use keywords like this, California DMV, and we agitate them because we know we get a lot of people coming from California. It's like, God, our registration sucks, you know? And which really sucks if you're not in one of the cities, you're in the rural areas of California, which is like 80% of the state is rural. It's huge. And if you're out there, but you're dealing with the insane laws because of LA's smog problems, and you're like, oh, this sucks. And that's what we do is we agitate that because those people, it's like, think you're like a farmer out there, and you're like, I love California. I have a family farm here, but registering my car sucks. And we go off of that and we agitate that and we understand, we target that, and then we offer that solution. So the solution we do is like, you have an LLC in Montana, and what you're going to do with that is you're going to use the LLC as your residency, and you're going to register your car, and you're going to save on taxes. There's no state tax in Montana, so you're welcome. And they're like, oh, I was used to paying 9 to 10% on sales tax, plus all these insane things, and I have to have a smog, and I have to have a smog certificate to sell. So anyway, that's how it works for any different, any number of things. All right, like I said, you can find me on Dirt Legal. It's I'm on the blog. I've written 100 plus articles. I've explained this ad nauseum. So that's kind of what you're going to do. That's how this works 99% of the time. Part of being a subject matter expert and becoming the expertise in that space is you're still going to I'm sorry. You're going to agitate, and then you're going to provide an answer, and you want to have that solution available. So anyway, that's kind of a long end around of saying what keywords are there for. Most people just get on their phone and they just go Googling something, and that's the extent of their knowledge of it. Like, oh, there's an answer. But for those of us that are capitalizing on that, we want to know how people are thinking, what they're thinking. And that's what keywords are. They're really a portal into how and what people are thinking. And that's actually what makes it really cool to me, is that you are kind of getting inside their mind there, of figuring out their thought process to drive them to a solution that you've provided, or that the company you're working and writing for is providing. And I think that's what makes it so cool. And it's always changing. This landscape is always changing, but keyword research, that's always at the heart of it. And that's why I brought up the Dirt Legal example, because we do all extensive keyword research because we target who we want to appeal to, and every company does that. And they're a great example because it's a large company, a lot of traffic. All right. And it's really proven because we are appealing to certain people, and it's the same certain people over and over again. Like, it's the same type of people. It's people that basically they live in a state that sucks to register cars in. They live in a state where they can no longer register the car they own in because of some sort of arcane rule. And you know and so we provide them solutions. So we talk about all of those problems, we research those problems, we find keywords to you know un unravel those problems. That's what we're trying to do, is unpack them, but we use keywords in the midst of those to um to pull it apart and pull people in. Because that's the thing, as you're dissecting the problem, you need to use keywords that are going to attract people. um and then, now, the other thing, and we'll talk about this more down the road, be careful, don't overdo it, because then it's just spam, and then you're going to get tanked. All right, you really only want to target a few keywords on any given blog post. Sorry. And then you're going to want to make sure that those, are consistent with each other and consistent with what you're doing, with what you're actually trying to accomplish there. But at the, at its very core, though, there's a lot of free tools that you can use to get started if you're just doing your own blog. There's a lot of free tools out there just to do keyword research that you can accomplish most of your keyword research with free tools. You really don't need to pay for anything probably for a little while. You can find like the for Chrome, um, the SEO Quake is SEMrush's, and then the Moz toolbar, and then the Hrefs plugin. They're all free extensions, and I mean, like, they all tell you like keyword volume, and they suggest keywords for you. And I mean, you can do a lot of your keyword research and never leave the Google screen. You just plug those extensions in, and roughly what you're going to be researching. And I mean, that's the thing. What I've learned is that you really need to spend most of your time on Google anyway, because you need to learn to think like your customers, and that's where they do it. They go to Google because they're like, oh man, they got a bill from the state, and they're like, I owe $700 to renew this registration with this car, and it's like a 2015 Civic, and they're like, I can't afford it. I make $50,000 a year, and I live in LA, and so you have to put yourself out there to answer those questions and be found by them, because they're going to go to Google and like, how can I save money? Or they're on Reddit. How can I save money? Reddit's an SEO goldmine, by the way. I find so many of my questions and leads on there. It's crazy. Anyway, so that's where they're at. They're going to those places looking for these answers. And your job, when you're looking for them, that's what keyword research is. You're finding these questions that people are asking. And the keyword is just a little snippet of the broad question they're asking. And you're using that to support whatever it is you're saying. So anyway, check out those extensions. They're worth their weight in gold, and they're free. All right. And then I recommend, if you are ready to spend a little bit of money, start with SpyFu. It's $40 a month. And I haven't even begun to really hash out all the capabilities of that system. And that's been my takeaway from everyone besides SEO agencies. Href and SEMrush is way overkill. If you're just, you have a couple of niche blogs and you're just trying to build them up, man, you don't need that. That stuff is crazy. Like, you have to be in that career field, living it and breathing it day in and day out for years to really even fully understand the capabilities of those systems. The other thing I will say, yes, these blog posts are kind of tailored to the companies, but if you go to Moz, SEMrush, Ahrefs, Search Engine Journal, Yoast, All-in-One SEO, SpyFu, they all have a blog, and go in there and you're going to want to start reading their blog posts. Now, that's where I get most of my information from to become really well-rounded. All of them usually have like a full-on keyword study guide that really goes granular. This is like this is like a flight level 35,000 foot view right here that I'm giving you. They go way down. They drill really deep into that. So also, I recommend, there's a little website called Learning SEO. Let me hold on. I'll pop it up here. It is learningseo.io, and it's just a little private website, and it's got linked to, last I checked, because you can download the resources on a Google Sheet, like 700 articles. Whoever runs this did a fantastic job of making a great place to learn. So check those out. The only one stopping you from learning SEO and keyword research is you. And if you do, there's levels to this game, and you're going to be leveling way up. Take care, guys.